City, Panama. Panama plays host to El Salvador. I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us here tonight. A raucous atmosphere is expected here in Panama City. Very comfortable conditions. The rain has passed. It rained earlier in the day, but it seems like we are good to go for kickoff tonight. An eagerly anticipated 90 minutes is ahead of us here in Group A. Currently, Panama sitting in the second spot behind Suriname. Both locked on 9 points. Suriname is in first place because of that +5 goal difference compared to Panama's +2. Plenty will play out here tonight. All of the matches across the Concacaf region are being played simultaneously tonight. That is all 6 matches in groups A, B, and C. Of course, the top team in each group qualifies directly to next summer's World Cup in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. As for the next 2 best second-place teams, those teams will go into the Interconfederation playoff. Both Panama and Suriname have their sights set on qualifying out of this Group A, but only one can claim that direct spot. As for El Salvador, because of the 4-0 loss that they suffered against Suriname on Thursday, they are officially eliminated from play here tonight in terms of advancing on to either the Interconfederation playoff or the World Cup. The players taking to the field here tonight at Estadio Romel Fernandez in Panama City. This Panama side trying to qualify for just their second ever World Cup. They could be 90 minutes away, or they'll have to play a little bit more in the Interconfederation playoff in Mexico in March. So much can play out over 90 minutes, as we've seen over the years here in the Concacaf World Cup qualifiers. Tonight will go down in history once again as this Panama side looks to qualify for just their second World Cup. We'll hear the anthems of both El Salvador and Panama as we build you up to first kick.
Caballeros, nos preparamos para escuchar de manera respetuosa el himno nacional de El Salvador. Damas y caballeros, nos preparamos para cantar a todo pulmón las gloriosas notas del himno nacional de Panamá.
Building you up to first kick tonight from Estadio Romel Fernandez in Panama City. What a scene it is tonight in the capital of Panama. I'm Josh Eastern, glad to be with you for the final match day of Concacaf World Cup qualifying ahead of next summer's World Cup here in the Concacaf region in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. A night that this nation has been eagerly anticipating, and the 52-year-old Denmark manager Thomas Christensen makes just one change into the starting lineup tonight for this Panama side. Christian Martinez is out. He moves to the bench. It is Ismael Diaz who moves into the lineup. This is a Panama team that has to go out and chase goals, because if Suriname wins, it is up to Panama to try to undo that goal difference deficit that they come into play with here tonight. Our officials this evening from Honduras: Said Martinez, Walter Lopez, Christian Ramirez, and Nelson Salgado is tonight's fourth official. Of course, the two captains here tonight, it is Darwin Seren and Anibal Godoy. And in the VAR room, it is Tatiana Guzman of Nicaragua and David Gomez of Costa Rica looking things over. As for El Salvador, the starting lineup tonight for head coach Hernan Gomez comes out in a 4-3-3, makes four changes from that 4-0 loss against Suriname. It is Brian Hill, Rafael Tejada, Mauricio Cerritos, and Jefferson Valladares that move out of the lineup. Seren, Clavel, Mercado, and Vasquez all enter the starting 11 tonight, with Michel Mercado making his international debut. That is Thomas Christensen, who is trying to bring Panama to their first World Cup since this man, Hernan Gomez, did the only other time that Panama made it to the World Cup back in 2018 in Russia. The threads between these two sides, it may not be a whole lot, but the manager of El Salvador being Hernan Gomez just adds a little bit more to this matchup here tonight. There's been so much talk about gamesmanship for both Guatemala and El Salvador coming into play here tonight, based on both Guatemala and El Salvador already being eliminated. What would the level of squad out on the field look like for these two nations? Well, it's a fairly good side on the field tonight for El Salvador, based on what they played with the other night in Suriname. But it is all about Panama tonight. A Panama side that is vying for just their second ever World Cup appearance. These fans have been waiting a very, very long time. You remember going back to 2018 World Cup qualifying. It came down to the final day. Panama beat Costa Rica 2-1. They knocked out the United States. Panama went on to their first World Cup. Looking for something similar tonight. There is the whistle, and we are underway tonight from Panama City. It's Panama and El Salvador. So much on the line for this Panamanian side, not wanting to have to go through that Interconfederation playoff. Although if they do get to that Interconfederation playoff, it's more than likely they will be one of the seeded teams, as you see Thomas Christensen here, one of those seeded teams that would go directly to the second match of those playoffs. They most likely would only have to win just one match, but they don't want to have to get there. They want to get it done here tonight. Thomas Christensen was hired back in 2020. He's coached the most games for this Panama national team of any head coach that they have had, even more than Hernan Gomez, who is in the other dugout here tonight. And there is Hernan Gomez, hired back in February. He was the coach of Panama from 2014 to 2018. Took this Panama side to the World Cup in 2018. He said, coming into tonight, I hope we have a good night. He says he's been a Panama fan, except for when they play El Salvador. He said, we will do our best to get a result. And a free kick coming here early on for Rudy Clavel. Clavel, who did not start in the match just a few days ago, will send this ball into the box. Nothing doing here. It'll be tracked down by Cesar Blackman. Of course, we will keep our eye on what is going on around the Concacaf region here tonight with the other matches going on currently. All 6 matches starting at the same time. This ball's played over the top, and it's taken by Mario Gonzalez. Remember, for those teams that finish in 2nd place, it's only the top 2 teams that will move on to those Interconfederation playoffs. Panama, at the start of play tonight, comes in the 2nd spot of those 3 second-place teams. Currently, Haiti is holding down that 3rd spot. Jamaica is in 1st. What's remarkable is of the 5 spots up for grabs tonight, either to the World Cup or the playoff here in CONCACAF, none have been officially secured. That's what makes a night like tonight just so exciting for the neutral viewer, and a very nervy one for those that are supporting a respective nation. Here's Carrasquilla looking to play out. Anibal Godoy, such an experienced player for this Panama side. A team that has had a very good 2025. They're unbeaten over their last 11 games. Just 1 loss in their last 13. That was the CONCACAF Nations League final that they lost to Mexico. 8-1-4 officially this year, and trying to cap it off here in their final match of the year with a win that could take them to the World Cup for just the 2nd time ever. Stepping forward, Ciprian, he had his jersey tugged. This will be brought back. Free kick on the way. Can't say the same for El Salvador here in 2025. They have come in, they have lost 4 straight. They have just 1 win over their last 9. Their only wins in 2025 coming against Anguilla, who was one of the worst ranked teams in the FIFA rankings across the entire planet. And then against Guatemala was only their 2nd win of the year. That was their 1st game in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. It's the only game in which they themselves have scored a goal. They've only scored 2 goals. It is tied for the least goals scored in this 3rd round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying with Bermuda. They have not scored since that 1st game against Guatemala. They did get an own goal in their match against Suriname. The only goal they have scored has been from Harold Osorio, who is not part of the lineup here tonight, nor on the bench. Godoy nodding it forward. Here's Eric Davis to keep it moving. Diaz. Panama has to have seen what Suriname did to El Salvador on Thursday and saying, all right, we got to do the same thing here. Now, they did have a pretty comfortable lead at a certain point in that game, Panama did, against Guatemala, but Guatemala fought back in that game to make it just a 1-goal margin loss. So Panama, with that 3-2 win, only got the +1 in the goal difference instead of what could have been +2 or even +3 in that match. And that will play into what goes on tonight should Suriname and Panama match results. And the one tiebreaker that Panama does have, as we see the foul, is more goals scored, and that could go in their favor if it goes to the 2nd tiebreaker. We'll see how that all goes tonight. If it does get to that tiebreaker, of course, Panama would have topped Suriname in goals scored, because currently Suriname has 8 goals to Panama's 6. It's all about the goal difference first. A set piece opportunity coming. Eric Davis and Coco Carrasquilla. Davis has a very strong left foot, And he'll use that here to deliver. A header away, nothing doing as Diaz got his head to it. Carrasquilla trying to collect it in the middle. Here's Jairo Enriquez. Looking to play out, it's broken up. Played forward quickly. Gonzalez is out and he is there to collect. Gonzalez has been the #1 goalkeeper for this El Salvador side for the past few years, as there was a whistle there in the middle. Conco Carrasquilla is the one down. It appears this will be brought back. There was the foul. It appeared Enriquez clipped the heels there of Carrasquilla. Now the set piece on the way. Davis again puts it in. Couldn't beat that first blue shirt. All the way out to Cesar Blackman. To move this down the line, it runs out of play. Thomas Christensen said coming in, he said, today is a game for an entire country. It's not only the 11 players on the field. He said you have to win the game, but you have to go little by little. You have to go with a cool head, with clear ideas, and with the conviction to win. 3 points would do them a lot of good, but they also have to realize that they need to win by a few goals. We'll, of course, be rooting for Guatemala to put up a good fight against Suriname tonight. So take away that goal difference that could sway in the favor of Suriname. Andrade for Davis. Davis tries to come in fields. There's no whistle there. Foul as Steven Vasquez was just pulled back. A big opportunity tonight for number 15 in blue, Michel Mercado, the 34-year-old who plays domestically in El Salvador for Alianza, one of the biggest clubs in El Salvador, and earning his international debut tonight at 34 years old. There had been talk of him being called in and starting here tonight, and he does get the nod. And there has been some talk away from the team this week about Nathan Ordaz, who he participated in the game on Thursday at Suriname, played 45 minutes, came on at halftime in that game, is not a part of the squad. He left and went back to Los Angeles, which is where he plays his club football for LAFC. He released a statement on Instagram explaining his decision and conversation with Hernan Gomez and El Salvador, but that is a big miss for El Salvador in the attack. He brings some good quality to this El Salvador team, as we see the foul here against Eric Davis. Brian Heel, Mauricio Cerritos, Jefferson Valladares, also players that played in that game against Suriname that are not part of proceedings here tonight. And it looks like the referees having to change out their communication system here about 10 minutes in. So much riding on this game for Thomas Christensen. It's been very interesting, though, hearing from Hernan Gomez about his take on everything that is going on over these 90 minutes because of his time coaching this Panamanian national team. I guess you can say there could be an opportunity that both times that Panama has qualified for the World Cup, Hernan Gomez was in the building. Move this out wide and knot it down the line. Locked down, Blackman. Here's Carlos Harvey. Escobar for Andrade, lifting it forward. This one chested down, Ismael Diaz. Out of play, couldn't get on top of that one and put it on target. The first shot of the night for Panama. Chested down very well by Cecilia Waterman and out of play. There is news of a goal already scored here tonight. It is Haiti that has taken the lead against Nicaragua, which brings into play the Interconfederation playoff, because Panama came in as the team sitting in second place, the final team that would make the playoff. Because of that goal, now in the live standings, Panama is not sitting in a spot that would progress them to either the World Cup or the playoff. Haiti currently taking on Nicaragua. Panama knows that they need to take care of business here tonight. A win will at least get them into that Interconfederation playoff, because they came in with more points than Haiti at the start of the night. Moved out wide for Eric Davis. Davis cuts it in onto his right foot now. The cross, the header, saved! Mario Gonzalez at full stretch, keeping Panama off the board. Just a peach of a pass in. The first big opportunity tonight for Panama, and what a chance it was. Ismael Diaz getting onto it. He did not play in that match the other day against Guatemala. He has played a big part of it so far here tonight. Now a corner kick coming 13 minutes in. Concacaf stands over it. Delay here in putting this back into play. San Martinez stepping in. Very experienced referee across the CONCACAF region. Here's Carrasquilla towards the top of the area. As Vasquez flying through to head this away. And Panama will retain possession. It was El Salvador that was heavily outpossessed the other day against Suriname. The expectation is Panama to be on the front foot, as they are here right now. Harvey moves it around. Trying to connect with Carrasquilla. Diaz got a touch to it. It's stumped down a play by Climaco. Harvey gonna play over the top. Again, broken up. And that game for El Salvador, they hung in the game for the early portion of it. It was the second half when the floodgates opened for Suriname. They scored 3 second-half goals in that game to beat El Salvador 4-0. Track record for Panama, very good against El Salvador in home matches and World Cup qualifiers. They've lost just 1 of 6 home games all time in World Cup qualifiers. And they've also won 3 straight, with just 1 conceded, as this is given away. A chance here, slipped ahead, opportunity to shoot, and it's saved by Gonzalez. Cecilio Waterman getting into a good spot. He's coming off a brace against Guatemala just the other day, as Mosquera comes to claim this. Here's Davis. Gonna move it down the line, Ismael Diaz. Diaz tries to slide this infield. Godoy, it's in the middle, it's loose, and it's cleared. Carrasquilla blocked. Another chance, it's in! Cesar Blackman! Pandemonium in A goal that Panama had to have, and they just are able to sneak it in. Cesar Blackman with just his third international goal. So much attacking pressure here from Panama. Appeals for a handball. It was struck so sweetly there by Blackman. Bouncing around the 18-yard box. Panama just staying with the play. So many deflections. Off the crossbar, maybe even off the hand of Gonzalez and into the net. It's a massive goal for Panama, and right now they are in position to advance directly to the World Cup. Blackman has scored some big goals in his career, and he comes up with another big one right here for Panama. Remember, he scored in Copa America against the United States in the group stage in Atlanta, and that famous result for Panama last summer. Another long ball floated forward for Davis, puts it back in the middle. Davis lifts it out wide. Ismael Diaz not able to get there as it's thumped away. Panama able to regain possession. The foul at midfield, Steven Vasquez. Hard fall there as well. A goal that Panama absolutely had to have. They were the heavy favorites coming into this group. A foul here will slow the progression forward for El Salvador. It'll be a free kick here for Panama. Another set piece for Panama, although they've not been all too dangerous on these set pieces. Just 2 of their 16, now 17 goals have come from set pieces across the second and third rounds of World Cup qualifying. It is the least among all Concacaf teams in this third round. This time, Coco Carrasquilla puts it in a good area. The header back across. Dealt with by Godoy, and it's onto the roof of the net. And did ever so well, Panama did. It was Carlos Harvey in the area as well. Carrasquilla putting this in a great spot. That was all Carlos Harvey there who attacked it right onto the roof of the net. He scored a big goal in the last window. That 1-1 match against Guatemala, pardon me, that was back in September, did Harvey, to earn a 1-1 draw against Guatemala. Now for Panama, it's going on and trying to find that second goal. Goal difference potentially playing into things tonight. They cannot rest on this 1-0 win. They have to go get more. But now they'll have to defend a set piece here as El Salvador will set up for an attacking one. Hernan Gomez looking on. Has not gone the way that he had hoped in this window. Seren delivers. The header away. That was Carlos Harvey up for it again. All the way back to Mario Gonzalez. This is what it looks like in Group A at the moment. Panama out in front. Suriname still in that second spot. They are still 0-0 in their match against Guatemala. Of course, we'll keep you updated with any happenings there in Guatemala. Flicked forward. Good play here. Andrade coming forward. Andrade's cross! Dealt with in the middle. Gomez there. Ismael Diaz lets it run out of play. Now here's Davis. Andrade keeps it alive. El Salvador looking to play out now. Working it back infield. Here's Darwin Seren. Seren had that pass broken up. El Salvador just about able to keep it. Long switch of play. It's right on the money. It's a great pass for Jairo Enriquez. Good step by Cesar Blackman, who's playing with plenty of confidence now after scoring the opener here tonight. Hernan Gomez looking on. He said, we have to go out and show respect for the great country that we represent. They want to put everything they can out there here tonight. Of course, things have not gone their way with the 4 straight losses. The 4-0 loss last time out against Suriname, but he says, inside, we know we have improved, but after a 4-0 win, it really doesn't say it. He said, against Guatemala, we played awful and won. That's soccer sometimes. Again, over the top. Eric Davis keeps it in play. Diaz. Here's Andrade now. Andrade's cross. The header is taken by Gonzalez. There's been good deliveries now on these set pieces. Another look at this one, just kind of glancing through there, was Ismael Diaz. Absolutely packed here. And Estadio Romel Fernandez, 45,000 is the capacity here. Wouldn't be surprised there's a few more than just that here tonight. Everyone wanting to say that they were here to see Panama clinch a spot in the World Cup. Right now, they're in position to do so. Stressful night, no doubt, for that man. And Thomas Christensen has poured so much into this group, into this team. As the manager since 2020. And what a big opportunity now to get to a World Cup here tonight. Going to come back into the middle again. Canasquilla. Harvey progressing forward. Moving it in fields. Going down in the area. There was some contact there. Londoño. Nothing there from the referee, Said Martinez. Enriquez trying to play out. Canasquilla moves it forward again. Londoño. Out of play and a throw into Panama. Andrade gets it out wide for Eric Davis. Davis keeps it moving. Diaz to the end line. Diaz turning it infield. Diaz the pass. Plenty of time. Blackman saved off the line. It all opened up there for Cesar Blackman. Panama keeping the pressure on. Andrade finally thumped away, and El Salvador can breathe for just a moment defensively. Shot from distance, parried back in the middle. Carlos Harvey stepping forward. Panama looking like they're up for more here tonight. Moved out wide, Blackman, the cross, the header is out of play. Corner kick on the way. El Salvador under siege right now. Panama is putting it on him tonight. So good from Diaz. This ball just trickled out wide. Blackman, how about that clearance off the line, a big one. And then it was Carlos Harvey stepping up from distance, forcing the save out of Mario Gonzalez. Canasquilla plays it short, gets the return pass, puts it up to the back post. Antonio has to see this bounce out of play. Oh, this was so close. Great work there. And Michel Mercado, he's an attacking player, but making his international debut today, that's almost as good as a goal. There are a few players on this team here tonight that did play in the World Cup back in 2018. And you know those Panamanian players want to get back there once again. Jose Luis Rodriguez, Anibal Godoy, Eric Davis, Ismael Diaz, and Fidel Escobar. Of course, that team was led by the likes of Roman Torres, who scored a massive goal for Panama in that 2-1 win against Costa Rica to close out World Cup qualifying and help knock out the United States back in 2018. Now a set piece on the way for El Salvador. Enriquez puts it up, knotted down, it's loose in the middle, the shot is blocked. First big chance of the game for El Salvador. It's their first shot of the game here tonight. Canasquilla trying to connect with Waterman. It'll run all the way back to Gonzalez. Just about 30 minutes gone. It's still the only goal that's been scored in Group A tonight. Panama's absolutely putting it on El Salvador right now. These teams played on October 10th. It was a 1-0 win for Panama. Jose Fajardo scoring in the 55th minute. It took a bit of time for Panama to finally score that goal. They're actually outshot in that game 10-7, but they outpossessed El Salvador with 58% of the possession that night. And moved upfield. Gomez lofting it forward. Clavel down the line. Seren trying to chase it down, and Eric Davis sees this out of play. Oh, giveaway there in the middle. Enriquez got a touch onto it. Godoy cleans it up ever so well. He's progressing forward as it's moved out wide for the goal scorer, Blackman. Blackman racing forward. Blackman still into the challenge with Diaz. Cleared away for a Panama throw. Panama goes quickly with it. Canasquilla. Andrade. Here's Davis. Canasquilla acting like he wants to hit it. Instead moves it out wide. Harvey now puts it up. Puts it into the corner. Davis. Andrade for Canasquilla. Can hear the fans urging Panama on just to keep that pressure on. Pressure's already squarely on Suriname in their match in Guatemala tonight. Diaz moves it ahead. Harvey coming forward. Harvey still. Carlos Harvey to the end line, puts it back, and the shot's out of play. A scissor kick attempt there by Cecilio Waterman. The shot is out of play. Harvey just kept on coming. The deflections worked in his favor. He got to the end line. That ball just a bit behind Waterman. Could not put it on target. And the reaction from Thomas Christensen, knowing what they have to do here tonight. Gonzalez sends it away. Seren. Here's Gomez moving it forward. Diaz thought he got clipped. The referee was waiting to see where that pass went. He did. It's a free kick on the way. It appears a yellow card is coming out here from Said Martinez. Here's Anibal Godoy. Will have his name taken here. Captain of this team. Just a bit late there. Clumsy. Everth Diaz. A substitution coming here early in this game. Darwin Seren, who has earned the most caps all time for El Salvador, appears to be coming out of this game. Not sure if this is injury related or not, but Seren, who came on as a second half substitute in that game against Suriname the other day, will exit. And for Seren, this could be the last chance that he plays in a World Cup qualifying match. The 35-year-old, well over 100 caps for El Salvador. Coming off the field here, it is Elvis Claros who will enter. But if this is the end of his World Cup qualifying career, he did leave it all out there. Some big moments for El Salvador, even going back to the last World Cup qualifying cycle. They finished 7th in the octagonal. And as Claros who comes on. That's the 3rd cap for Claros, 25-year-old. The free kick sent forward. Be tracked down by Julio Cibrian. He'll let this run out of play instead. Corner kick on the way. It's the first corner of the night. Mercado stands over it on his international debut. The in-swinger, the heads go up, this one nodded away. Shot from distance and wide of goal. Hernan Gomez looking on. What is going through his head today? said of Panama, it's a team in good form. He said, we haven't had continuity. We've had to change the lineup every match. He says, we're still missing what we need to be successful at this level. He went on to say that this team is just not yet ready to deliver results. He said, if they remove me, they'll just have to fire the next guy in 6 months. He wants to build towards 2030 and what this team could be. He said that's no way to build a process if they just keep going through managers. It's been a revolving door for El Salvador over the last couple of years since they made that run to the octagonal back in 2022. Owen comes back in. Vasquez defended by Harvey. Vasquez turns end line. The cross is taken by Mosquera. Canasquilla. Panama will slow things down. About 10 minutes ago it was all Panama, all into the attack as they come forward again here with Eric Davis. Canasquilla, Andrade. And Canasquilla moves it out wide. Blackman slips momentarily. He's able to keep possession. Harvey for Godoy. Davis got the better of Rudy Clavel. Gonna play it towards the end line. Canasquilla. He kept it in play. Now can he keep possession? The decision is a free kick the other way. Good work here just to try to keep that alive, but that was a foul against Canasquilla. Here's Mosquera. Remember, Panama in a position now to advance to the World Cup directly, not having to go through the Interconfederation playoffs. But still a lot of time for things to change here tonight. Londoño for Godoy. Throw-in going Panama's way into the final 5 minutes now before the break. Thomas Christensen, I'm sure, would love another goal. And they can reassess what they need to do come the second half, but it's all about scoring and winning this game by a lot. But now it's turned over. Those red shirts streaming back defensively. Mercado moves it out wide. Big chance for El Salvador. The shot is wide. Steven Vasquez had the opportunity for La Selecta, but nothing doing. Just a slip in the middle. Bad turnover there. And yet, it was nearly the moment for El Salvador. Vasquez may have just been onside. It was very close as that last defender for Panama tried to step forward. Floated forward again. Londoño off his chest. Canasquilla Moves it out wide for Davis. Early ball across, and it's out of play. Flag stayed down. A big miss there from Ismael Diaz. Could have and should have been 2-0 to Panama. That ball was put right where it needed to be. Maybe it was Ronald Gomez coming from behind to just disrupt Diaz. Oh, he wanted to put that one away so bad. And Thomas Christensen thought that was the second goal that Panama has been yearning for. It's all about the small margins tonight. And on Gomez and El Salvador trying to play spoiler here. Clavel taking his time. Here's Clavel lofting it forward. Escobar the header away. Here's Davis. And now Andrade to move it upfield. Waterman was fouled. Final few minutes of this half. Panama trying to find that second goal. Remember, they came in 3 goals in the goal difference behind Suriname. Just too far out in front of Londoño. Still 0-0 between Guatemala and Suriname. The question is, for these teams, do you want to know what the scores are elsewhere? At a certain point, Panama might need to know what they need to do if Suriname is beating Guatemala, whether they can take their foot off the gas or whether they need to keep going. Challenge put in there. It's all clean according to the referee. Cross looking for Vasquez, cleared away. Waterman. Here's Vasquez to lay it off for Mercado. Clavel. Mercado, this ball bouncing in. And nothing doing. Now Carrasquilla trying to carry it back the other way. Eric Davis. Gonna move this forward. Davis. There'll be a yellow card out as we enter 3 minutes of stoppage time. Rudy Clavel has his name taken here. Out of play. That was a miss-hit cross by Eric Davis. Confirmation of Clavel into the book. Panama getting that opening goal from their outside back, their wing back, Cesar Blackman, back in the 17th minute. Still looking for more. Gomez trying to spoil the party here in Panama, competing against the team that he coached back in 2018 to the World Cup. Many of the players that are on the field, or at least on the bench tonight, are on that team in 2018. Push in the back here against Vasquez. Diaz racing forward. On the turn, penalty! A point to the spot as it is a foul in the box. Waterman brought down. A chance for Panama to grab a crucial second goal. The yellow card is out to someone there. Diaz carrying it forward. And a handful of jersey there by Elvis Claros, one of those substitutes, or the substitute that came on for Darwin Seren just past the half-hour mark. This, of course, will be confirmed by Tatiana Guzman. It appears it is Eric Davis putting this ball down for Panama. Massive moment coming here. Try to extend that goal difference for Panama if it comes into play here tonight. Davis, the 34-year-old who plays right here at Panama for Plaza Amador. Over 100 caps, 8 goals. Was on that World Cup team back in 2018. Eric Davis delivers! Panama leads 2-0! There's something in the air tonight in Panama City. Panama is right there, looking to progress to that second ever World Cup. Waterman brought down in the area by Elvis Claros. And stepping up to the spot, Eric Davis. Gonzalez was way off his line. Regardless how he got a touch on that. Goalkeeper sent the wrong way. Davis, a massive moment for Panama. The celebration could be well and truly on tonight for Panama, as the referee has blown for halftime here in Panama City. Eric Davis grabbing that second goal. The goal difference between Suriname and Panama was 3 at the beginning of the night. Suriname is still tied with Guatemala. Panama leads, and we go to the break here in Panama City. It's Panama 2, El Salvador 0. halftime highlights from tonight in Panama City, Panama. Panama playing host to El Salvador. Concacaf World Cup qualifying. It all comes down to this match tonight as to whether Panama will go to the World Cup, go to the Interconfederation playoff, or go home altogether and not qualify at all. Once we got underway, it was all Panama right from the get-go. Eric Davis delivering the service. How about this save from Mario Gonzalez? A great save there at full stretch. Then Godoy putting us right in the middle. Chance from distance, deflected, and finally Cesar Blackman putting Getting set for the second half here from Estadio Rommel Fernandez in Panama City. It's Concacaf World Cup qualifying, the final match day of these qualifiers. Josh Eastern, glad to be with you. That is Joshua Perez, who is set to come into this game for El Salvador. The second sub of this match. Remember, it was Darwin Seren who came off. Now it'll be Rudy Clavel who comes off. He was on a yellow card, so things will have to shift around with Perez being an attacking player coming into this game now for El Salvador. Our referee, Said Martinez, just about ready to get us on our way for this second half. It could be a historic night here in Panama City. Panama putting themselves right where they need to be in order to progress on to the World Cup directly. Hernan Gomez in El Salvador trying to play spoiler. Hernan Gomez, remember, was the manager the only other time that Panama made it to the World Cup back in 2018. Just waiting on the go-ahead, and we can get this second half underway. There is the whistle. Here we go. 45 more minutes. These fans eagerly anticipating these next 45 minutes. This country eagerly anticipating these next 45 minutes. As Thomas Christensen, the manager of Panama, said, he said they know what they are facing. They know the illusion that an entire country has to qualify for the World Cup. That is what rests in front of this Panama side. And remember, with the matches being played in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, it's as close as Panama will ever be to a World Cup, not hosting it themselves. A big chance to play a Concacaf World Cup upcoming. Set piece on the way now for El Salvador. One goal from Suriname changes everything. Perez, high lofted ball, Mosquera up amongst everyone to bring that down. This has been a raucous crowd all night. There were fireworks being set off outside the stadium as the buses pulled into Estadio Rommel Fernandez. These fans have been eagerly anticipating this night for a very long time. Panama were the group favorites, and how about this? We are getting word of a goal from Guatemala. We'll see if that is confirmed by VAR. If so, Panama would be in an even better spot than they were just a few moments ago. Carrasquilla moves this out wide. The cross coming in. Carrasquilla brings it down. Carrasquilla puts it in the middle, and the clearance is away. Massive moment there defensively for El Salvador to keep this at 2-0, but now they'll have to defend a set piece. Carrasquilla has just been so dangerous for this Panama side all game long. Sets the tempo for this team, and he nearly found Cecilia Waterman. Davis plays it short. Davis gets it back. Davis the cross. End of the way by Claros. It is, in fact, 1-0 to Guatemala as Panama are looking for more. Flag is up for offside. A couple of Panama players there in that offside position, one being Cecilia Waterman. Panama came into this group being the highest ranked team in this Group A, 31st. They They were the team that was supposed to top this group pretty comfortably. And they could go through and not lose any of their matches. Hernan Gomez looks on. It would be 3 wins and 3 draws if it stays as is right now. Doing what they need to do. Remember, this is a team unbeaten in their last 11. They've been so dangerous here in 2025, building towards a moment such as this. Free kick put towards goal, and taken by Mosquera. Long ball floated forward, and this might work out here for Panama. Diaz to fight off about 3 blue shirts. For one of them slipped. Clearance on the bicycle kick. It's a play on. Here's Godoy. Oko Carrasquilla. Diaz. Cesar Blackman. Now Harvey. Back for Blackman. A goal scored tonight. He turns it over. Perez moves it ahead. Here comes El Salvador. It was Climaco who was cut down. There'll be a free kick on the way as Climaco has to pick himself up. Chance to cross. Harvey. And now Mosquera. He can play it. Here's Carrasquilla to carry forward. Panama has really had El Salvador's number over the last 8 matches. El Salvador has won just once. That was in World Cup qualifiers back in the last cycle on October 7th of 2021. These teams playing 4 years to almost the day here in World Cup qualifying when Panama beat El Salvador by 2-1 back in 2021. Panama just finishing on the outside looking in of the playoff places, 4 points behind Costa Rica. It was the octagonal in the lead up to the 2022 World Cup. Salvador just have not had much going their way during this window, nor during this entire qualifying cycle. Just the 2 goals scored, only one of them by one of their own players. That was all the way back on match day 1 of this 3rd round of qualifying. An El Salvador team that had a nice run going through the 2022 cycle. They did finish in 7th place. It was an uphill battle that year. Maybe they were a little bit ahead of schedule. Everybody thought, though, maybe they could make some moves coming into this cycle, building towards this World Cup. But not meant to be. This is slipped through again. Panama able to keep it. Blackman slices through that opportunity and out of play. Big chance there for Cesar Blackman to go and find a second one. there's more cheering in the crowd, and you can only guess what that could mean. And it seems like it is 2-0 now to Guatemala. That's what we are seeing and hearing. And these Panama fans are reacting accordingly. This is bad news now for Suriname. They were looking to go to their first ever World Cup. Now they might just be battling to get through to the Interconfederation playoff. Now it is turning into a celebratory mood here for Panama. Might want to send a nice gift basket to Guatemala if things hold. A foul here. It'll be a free kick going to El Salvador, but behoove Panama to hold on to what they're doing here, just in case. It's a free kick coming for El Salvador. Substitutes prepare now for Panama. Christian Martinez, who started in the last game, appears like he will be entering this one. There's no doubt a more attacking lineup for Panama. Now with where the score lines are at here in Group A, Thomas Christensen might want to lock things down. Shot is taken by Perez. It's a straightforward save there for Mosquera. Carrasquilla. And here's Andrade, the updated standings. That one in the loss column of Suriname means a whole lot now for Panama, who control Group A at the moment. It was all on Suriname tonight, or almost all on Suriname at least. Goal difference could have played a part. Now Suriname is going to need a big comeback and for El Salvador to dig in defensively or go find a goal of their own. Climaco. Play down the line, right to feet there at Perez. Perez darts in fields. Those who came into the match against Suriname brought a little something offensively. It was just not enough in that second half for El Salvador the other night in Suriname. Slip forward again, Andrade. Diaz moves it back. And the switch of play. Here's Blackman, and Mosquera will send it over the top and long. And two subs preparing here in just a moment as Londoño is brought down. Jose Fajardo and Christian Martinez will be entering this game here for Panama. First player out is their captain, Anibal Godoy, on a yellow card, so I wanted to protect him here. Godoy will pass the armband off to Eric Davis. Two World Cup teammates from 2018 trying to get back there for a second time. The captain, Godoy, is off, and so is Zarias Londoño. First subs of the night. Martinez, who started the match against Guatemala the other night, currently plays his club football in Israel. Fajardo plays in Ecuador. Gonna play over the top. Gallardo trying to track it down. A two-handed shove will earn him a foul. Free kick back to El Salvador. This Panama side in the first half did everything they needed to do, getting those two early goals. Maybe word trickled over to Guatemala. Suriname felt some of that pressure. A team that hadn't scored a ton of goals in this World Cup qualifying round. Same goes though for Panama. Coming into this round, both teams had less than 5 goals scored in their 4 matches. This ball slips through. It's Waterman onto it. Waterman looking for Gallardo and broken up. And the flag is up for offside. Waterman in that offside position. As things stand now, Suriname wouldn't even be going through in one of those 2 playoff spots either. They could be totally out of the mix. That's what made tonight just so exciting for the neutral here in Concacaf. All 5 spots, no one had clinched anything. There were teams that had been eliminated. In terms of clinching a spot, nothing had been done. It's good effort there by Climaco. Carlos Harvey coming over defensively and winning the goal kick for Panama. And that looks like it may have come off Harvey last. And the fans here are celebrating yet another Guatemala goal. It is 3-0 to Guatemala at the moment. And Panama have done just about everything they need to do. Now they just can't lose. What an experience for these fans to keep in tune with what is going on in Guatemala City. And then, of course, what they want their own team to do. And it is turning into a party atmosphere here in Panama. Carrasquilla. Flip this forward, nothing on. Diaz the clearance. Laid off for Martinez. A chance to hit it. Instead it's Harvey, and Panama will just elect to keep the ball here. Panama trying to make something of this. Put out in front and taken by Gonzalez. It's Perez on the move. Nothing doing there for El Salvador, and eventually out of play. Hernan Gomez, he wanted to put his best foot forward here for his El Salvador side. The second half has been a little bit better than that first half. Panama was all over El Salvador in the first 45 minutes. It could have been, it probably should have been a couple of more goals for Panama. The stats are still very lopsided. As this cross comes in, the flicked header is wide. Steven Vasquez was up for it. Good ball in. Vasquez just getting in between those two Panamanian defenders. Enriquez sending it forward. The header did not miss by much. Vasquez, who's earning his 20th cap tonight. He scored 3 goals in his international career. is for football in El Salvador. Martinez couldn't win the battle in the midfield, but Panama come away with it anyway. These fans are enjoying themselves tonight. This ball played out wide. Appears that came off the hand of Enriquez. It did. It'll be a free kick on the way for Panama from that left side. That side should favor Eric Davis and that left foot, unless Panama elects for that in-swinging ball. Play it short. Canasquilla for Martinez. Harvey. Blackman. Here's Blackman. Quickly moving it. Panama and keep away from El Salvador at this point. Canasquilla for Martinez. Quick back and forths. And the Olays have started here, and Estadio Romel Fernandez, and then it's given away. Martinez slipped, trying to get back onto it, and he quickly does for Panama. Gallardo out wide, Blackman. Blackman across blocks, Canasquilla. Header away as far as Cesar Blackman. A loose ball that's taken by Mosquera. Played ahead, Waterman. Waterman puts it out in front and taken by Gonzalez. Now the flag is up for offside. Second time that he's been caught in an offside position, and it was just. Gonzalez taking his time to put this ball back in play. El Salvador knew they were eliminated after their match against Suriname the other day. That partnered with the Panama win, knocked them out of even trying to qualify for one of those playoff spots as one of the best second-place teams. It was going to be an uphill battle. Losing 4-0 against Suriname was not the way that El Salvador wanted to start this window. Hernan Gomez said going into that game against Suriname on Thursday that the pressure was all on the favorites being Panama, Suriname, and Guatemala. So they were the team that had to have a little bit of luck go their way. And the luck did not go their way. They didn't create any of it either. They were the early kickoff, too, in that match against Suriname. So everybody across the region saw them lose 4-0 and knew that they were out. Bermuda having scored tonight, El Salvador now has the least goals across any team in this third round of World Cup qualifying. Diaz, Fajardo trying to get a shot away. Jose Fajardo sends this well out of play. Nothing doing there. He was forced into a tight angle. This was the goal that got Panama going tonight. The stadium was shaking. And then Eric Davis, just before halftime, making it 2-0. Bit of insurance on the night, as subs will be made here. Jose Rodriguez coming in for Panama. It will be Noel Rivera coming in for El Salvador. Also be Alberto Quintero to come into this game for Panama. Cecilia Waterman will exit. Big ovation for Waterman. His 50th cap coming tonight. A nice ovation for the 34-year-old. Jose Luis Rodriguez on, Alberto Quintero on. One of the elder statesmen, Quintero, of this Panama side. 37 years old. The 140th cap as Ismael Diaz will exit. Quintero, a fan favorite as he enters. Two more subs on there for Panama. Those are now 4 subs used, as Adan Climaco has exited in the meantime for El Salvador. Hernan Gomez has used 3 of his 5. So 1 more available now for Panama. The possession game continues for Panama as they look for another one tonight. Fajardo. Good defensive work there by El Salvador, and a foul comes. Now back the other way to El Salvador. Another look at it here, Fajardo. Like he just caught him across the face, that being Michel Mercado. Thomas Christian is trying to see this to the finish line. No silly mistakes. Avoid injury as well, as the trainers have come on here. Here's Jorge Gutierrez. Is preparing to come on here for Panama as the final sub. It's Mercado taking his time to get back up here. These fans enjoying every moment of this one. Stadio Romel Fernandez, the capacity is about 45,000. I think about 45,000 more will tell their friends that they were here tonight, as Eric Davis will be replaced, and Davis will get his rousing ovation exiting the field tonight. That is the 5th and final change now for Thomas Christensen, as Alberto Quintero will get the captain's armband. Davis exits. It's Jorge Gutierrez who comes on. "15 minutes to go. All the goal scoring done on the other side of halftime. The score in Guatemala is Guatemala 3, Suriname 0. Suriname were in control of their destiny tonight, needing a win with better goal difference over Guatemala to progress, and it doesn't seem like that is going to be the case tonight. Panama, though, they started the night in second. They will look to finish it in first, just trying to see out these final 15 minutes. Misplayed pass there by Andrade. Now he'll have to chase Mercado down, who cuts it in fields. Vasquez off his chest. Well done by Fidel Escobar. And Mosquera can slow things down. Over the top again. Gutierrez, the cross, Bayardo. He got a touch to it, but he left it just behind him. So close to finding a third. You have to think the players know the situation at this point. Yes, they are still streaming forward. Some of the substitutions made will probably have told the players that they don't know already that they are well in position to progress as the group winners here in Group A. If things stay as they are across the region, it'll be Panama and Curacao as the only teams that will have gone through these 6 matches without losing. And Jamaica, they need to beat Curacao in order to progress as the group winners. So still a lot to be sorted there. Panama, they will look towards the first week of December. That is the World Cup draw that will be in Washington, D.C. in the United States. And Panama, if things stay as they are for the next 12 minutes, they will be in the pot. Of course, the World Cup beginning on June 11th. First game will be in Mexico City. Ball over the top. Gallardo plays the square ball. Carrasquilla lays it off, and the shot is wide. Jorge Gutierrez inches away from his first international goal. Everybody kept on side there by Elvis Claros. Gallardo laying this off so well. Carrasquilla doing the same, and Gutierrez, his eyes must have gotten really big there. Great build up there by by Panama. Costa Rica in a tight one with Honduras as well. This is turned over. Chance to shoot for Quintero. Quintero wide. Just tried to set it up perfectly on that right foot. And the captain could not find the corner. Martinez for Carrasquilla. All the way back to Mosquera. 10 minutes to go tonight in Panama City. It has turned into a celebratory mood here at Estadio Romel Fernandez and across the nation of Panama. Carrasquilla, that heavy touch. He's able to recover and he moves it down the line. Rodriguez lifts the cross in. Header away by Gomez. Quintero crashing in. Here's Andrade to move it back out wide. Blackman. Laid off for Cesar Blackman. Blackman fouled. Free kick on the way. Herbert Diaz commits the foul. No questions about that one. And now, big set piece opportunity, and who is to take it? Jose Luis Rodriguez standing over this. Fidel Escobar has come forward as well. Fidel Escobar might have his sights set on this one. Rodriguez over it as well. Escobar is the right-footed option. Rodriguez the left. Four-man wall in front of Mario Gonzalez. Rodriguez off the post. What an effort. Had everyone beat except for the woodwork. Set up so perfectly on that left foot. Gonzalez was just a spectator. Would have just been the cherry on top tonight for Los Canaleros. Another foul. Diaz commits it once more. Played down the line, Martinez. Crashing into the end boards, blocked out of play, corner kick on the way. Another look at that set piece opportunity. Rodriguez, who plays for Juarez in Mexico, with a great effort. Played short here for Carrasquilla. Panama will just elect to keep the ball. It's two teams just trying to get to the finish line tonight. El Salvador have mostly run out of gas here. And this is all about just finishing out these 6 minutes for Panama as group winners. And it's still 3-0 to Guatemala over Suriname. Suriname right now on the outside looking in, even of those two best second-place teams. Back in the middle, lifted over the top. Quintero brings it down. Quintero in the middle, saved, rebounds in. Rodriguez scores. Panama's going to the World Cup. What a moment for Panama. Everything going their way tonight. And this, the cherry on top. Quintero did ever so well in the tight space. Great save by Gonzalez. Rodriguez there to put it in and put an exclamation mark on this. Panama knew what they had to do tonight. They needed 3 goals. And they get their 3 goals. The fireworks going off already here in Estadio Romel Fernandez. As Jose Luis Rodriguez, the substitute, has booked Panama's spot at the 2026 World Cup. All smiles for Thomas Christensen and this Panama national team. Emotions already taking over for Thomas Christensen and Panama. The fireworks being set off in the stadium. It is a party atmosphere here. Absolute scenes here at Estadio Romel Fernandez. What a job that man has done. Panama was the first team on the outside looking in back in 2022, trying to qualify for the World Cup in Qatar. They had built towards this moment for so long, making it to a Gold Cup final. They eventually this year lost in the quarterfinals on penalties, but it was still that upward momentum. Panama making it to the Nations League final, beating the United States back in March. Everything was building towards 2026. And with the few players that were still left from the team back in 2018 that made the only other trip to the World Cup, it was a mix of those players and some of these new young players. They're in the primes of their career that will carry Panama to just their second ever World Cup. And it's just going to be a few miles north in Mexico, the United States, and Canada. Hernan Gomez, he has a smile on his face. He did receive a bit of criticism in his press conference this week. He jokingly said, we'll see what happens tomorrow night. In his press conference yesterday, as Enriquez takes this free kick, the header bouncing around. El Salvador will track this down. Here's Rivera. Rivera, this ball out of play. It's a foul and a free kick to go back to Panama. Just to finish up that story, Hernan Gomez sort of joked and then he smiled and walked off the press conference stage, and it was not received all too well by El Salvador fans, media members. We'll see what this El Salvador team will look like moving forward towards 2023 as we see the foul again. Harvey caught there by Rivera. As Hernan Gomez said, he said this team's just not ready to deliver results at the moment. We'll see what they look like going forward, as there are about 30 seconds plus whatever stoppage time is left in this game. And this is all about Panama tonight. They needed 3 goals. No matter what Suriname did in their match, they get their 3 goals. Suriname losing their game still. A free kick on the way for El Salvador. We'll see how much longer is left. These fans have been in party mode for about 45 minutes now. Hugs for the captain. The shirts are already being passed out. Enriquez sends it forward. A foul that is not full time as of yet. It is over! Panama is going to the World Cup for the 2nd time in their history! Hernan Gomez was the manager that brought them to the World Cup, their first time in 2018. He's on the other side of it now with eliminated El Salvador. The fireworks go off here at Estadio Romel Fernandez. Absolute scenes here in Panama City. Panama wins Group A and progresses directly to their 2nd World Cup next summer. They did what they needed to do tonight here at home, and Panama get the job done. Thomas Christensen, the manager, to lead them back. Full time tonight from Estadio Romel Fernandez, where the party will continue. Panama 3, El Salvador 0. Full-time highlights tonight from Panama City in Concacaf World Cup qualifying. El Salvador visiting Panama here at Estadio Romel Fernandez. Great scenes here in Panama City. Panama needing a win and also some help from Guatemala tonight. And they would get all of those things here this evening. Once we were underway, it was all Panama. Eric Davis helping to lead the charge in the opening few minutes. A great save from Mario Gonzalez here to push this one out of play. And eventually there would be the moment for this Panama side. It was initially blocked, and then Cesar Blackman just squeezed that one in to make it 1-0. That was early on in this game, back in the 17th minute. And the chances would just continue for Panama. Godoy able to turn that corner. Canasquilla, and this would be the eventual game-winning goal. Blackman celebrating. Estadio Romel Fernandez absolutely shaking. Thomas Christensen already celebrating. And then more opportunities. This was another big chance. This one just climbing onto the roof of the net. Carlos Harvey kisses it off the crossbar and out of play. And then Ismael Diaz making things happen. Cesar Blackman, his shot saved off the line. A big chance there. Ismael Diaz doing so well to get into a good position. And Carlos Harvey, he had his chance as well for Cecilio Waterman. And his shot just going over the bar. And more opportunities coming the other way. This would be just one of the few chances of the night. Steven Vasquez put this one wide. So close to getting this game back on level terms. It would have thrown a wrench into the plans here of Panama. And then eventually the penalty. Cecilio Waterman brought down a point to the spot where Eric Davis would step up and deliver the second goal of the night. And this was just before halftime. Everything in the favor there of Panama. And Thomas Christensen celebrating with his coaching staff, all smiles going into halftime. And once the second half came, there would be this one chance for El Salvador. That was one of their better chances of this second half, but still not a whole lot doing. Panama, they would stream forward looking for more. Alberto Quintero, this effort just wide, the 37-year-old Quintero. And then Rodriguez putting this set piece off the post. What an effort that was. But the chances would continue for this Panama side. Looking for that third goal. Quintero doing ever so well to bring this down. Initial shot saved, and then Jose Luis Rodriguez bookmarking it and sending Panama for certain to the World Cup next summer. As you see the absolute celebrations here. Great scenes in Panama City as Panama see this one to the finish line. Rodriguez, and then off to celebrate. Amazing scenes here at Estadio Romel Fernandez. Scenes of the 2018 World Cup qualifiers. The celebration is on tonight. It is not yet over in Guatemala. It is 3-1 between Guatemala and Suriname, but Suriname would have to come all the way back there. It should not be enough time in that game. Panama are celebrating here tonight. They are the group leaders at the moment and should be the group winners when that game officially goes final there in Guatemala. That game has gone final, so this is it. Panama go through as group winners. And that will do it for our coverage tonight. For our entire crew, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long. Panama is off to their second ever World Cup.
Palabras a la afición nacional hoy que saliste a cancha a calentar, gritaron con todo Cocó Carrasquilla, respaldando a uno de nuestros baluartes en nuestra selección.
No, agradecerle todo el apoyo que me brindaron. La verdad que no fue fácil para mí en Guatemala, pero siempre creí y supe que tenía todo un país que confiaba en mí y que me iba a apoyar y creo que me levantó el ánimo, era lo que necesitaba y esta es la recompensa para ustedes, porque sin ustedes no hubiera sido posible mi pueblo panameño. Este es el ambiente que necesitamos todos los partidos de local, porque ya son no sé cuántos partidos sin perder en el Rommel y el Rommel se respeta.
Hoy fue esa clave, Cocó, sabiendo que hoy era el todo o todo, por no decir todo o nada.
La confianza que tuvimos en el grupo, el momento que generamos, eso fue la clave, porque nunca dudamos y siempre nos hicimos cargo de todo.
Estas últimas palabras a la afición nacional que, como puedes ver, se han quedado aquí adentro del estadio Rommel Fernández celebrando con ustedes.
Gracias, esto es para ustedes, que se lo disfruten hoy, mañana y hasta que llegue el día de jugar el primer partido en el Mundial.
Así es, gracias compañeros. Cocó Carrasquilla aquí por la pantalla de RPC y seguimos buscando jugadores.